The finance niche. It has the potential to be highly lucrative, which also makes it incredibly competitive. It's critical to stand out, especially online. And for many online businesses, the place with the most leverage to do that is their website. The good news is that there are only a few key elements that all authoritative websites have in common. So today, I want to break down what those are for you using one of our clients, Jeff Rose, as an example. So Jeff and I were introduced a few years ago by a mutual acquaintance, and we redesigned Good Financial Sense for him. And since then, we've helped him design his course for financial advisors called the Online Advisor Growth Formula, in addition to his newest brand, Wealth Hacker Labs, where he shares and builds upon the success that he had with Good Financial Sense. Now, before I continue, I want to make it clear that Jeff is a client. He's also a mentor and a friend, and I don't want to put words in his mouth or speak for him. So I highly recommend you check out his content to learn more about his story and his unique perspectives on this. Today, what we're going to do is we're going to focus on Wealth Hacker Labs. The reason that we're doing that is because it's easier to digest. There's less content, it's newer for Jeff, and it's also a little bit smaller. But the good news is that it follows the same essential principles as Good Financial Sense when it comes to content structure and the strategies that we're going to be talking about today. Also want to make it clear that I believe in the strategies that we're talking about in this video. And I believe that if you want to experience some of the results that we're talking about, you are at some point going to want to consider employing these strategies because they're pretty foundational, not just in what I've seen our other clients have success with, but also in our own businesses online. Let's dive in here. So here's some things that were important to Jeff. He wanted to design his new brand. He wanted to stand out in the marketplace in the finance niche. He wanted to build on the success of Good Financial Sense so that he could position his new brand with authority. He also wanted to make sure that he was able to capture leads. So he wanted everything that he needed to have a digital marketing asset that could grow his business and serve his future goals. So here are some of the solutions that we provided for him. Authority Web Design. We've designed his entire new brand, Wealth Hacker Labs, and his website. We also focused heavily on lead magnet and conversion elements in the design. So first, let's talk about Authority Design. And the way that we can do this is through something that I call high leverage placement. This is the first thing that people see when they visit the site. We have a positioning headline, and this is the highest leverage point in the entire site. It frames their entire perception around how they think about everything that they view after it. So we have the identity headline, Rethink Wealth, discover a new way to grow your wealth your parents or school never taught you, show me, which is the call to action, okay? And then we have a picture of Jeff right up there. So to continue authority triggers, we have to talk about story in the hero's journey. So this is the hero's journey framework. You position the individual, in this case, Jeff, as the mentor in the mind of the visitor. Jeff's avatar is somebody who just read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, is maybe in their mid-20s, and is wanting to get started on building wealth for themselves. So we are directly speaking to that person in these headlines. And Jeff is the guy who's going to help them reach that destination. And one of the reasons this is so powerful is because people often see themselves within your own story. And this is powerful because what it does is it gives people hope who maybe have tried something before, and we're telling them that this is a different way. Another thing that's very important is intellectual property, or IP, when it comes to authority. And IP and intellectual property just means creating something that is your own, branding it or calling it something different that people might have seen before, but just framing it in a way that makes it unique to you. And that's what this TM beside it is for, okay? Trademark. I talk about this more in the unique discovery process video, so I recommend you check that out if you haven't watched it already. So here's more authority and identity triggers. Our future is bigger than our past. This identifies with the people Jeff's wanting to speak to, because in order for somebody to start building wealth, they have to believe that their future isn't defined in their past, right? They have to believe that there's more. And again, I call these identity triggers or identity bullets. And this is a very, very important element of authority web design. All right, so let's move on to lead magnet and conversion. Briefly, we're going to talk about leveraging the power of IP again with site-wide call to action so that the next steps are clear, compelling, and self-evident. So people who identify with the message take the next step and know exactly where to do that so that we can get them on Jeff's email list. So I talked about IP a little bit earlier, but not only can IP be products or assets that add value to your business, they could also be a powerful way to position your brand differently. This is where we have Get the Wealth Hacker Toolkit. You can see it's on brand with Wealth Hacker. We have that TM right there. So we've identified who they are. We tell them that if you're looking for this, you're on the path to building wealth.
This is your identity. This is what you're wanting. We have a new way for you. I've done it myself. I'm going to show you. And we have these all over the site. That way, every page is a conversion asset. So the highest, best lead magnets tend to be ones who offer competitive advantage or something that they can't find on the site or anywhere else.
So that about wraps it up. I hope you found these insights helpful. If you want any more information on how to leverage an authority brand on your website, head on over to willnawdesign.com.